back later on the website at ctstate.edu/webinars. Thank you everyone for coming. There will be questions at the end of the presentation, so please just post your questions in the chat and we'll get to all of them. Now I'm going to turn it over to Jeanette.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome to the CT State Transfer Credit Evaluation webinar. President for Programs and Curriculum, and Carolyn Dunlap, Transfer Credit Evaluation Coordinator, who is monitoring the chat for questions. We appreciate everyone joining us today, and we will answer any questions at the end of our presentation. Please feel free to type your questions in the chat directly, and we will answer all questions as best we can. During today's webinar, we will share information pertaining to our Transfer Credit Evaluation Coordinators, which you will often hear us refer to them as TCEs. Our Transfer Credit Evaluation General Process, communications to both students and faculty, TCE, which is Transfer Credit Evaluation Technology Resources, Student Resources, Key Performance Indicators, and we will conclude our presentation with a Q&A. The transfer credit evaluation process for CT State is streamlined to ensure students receive the most efficient customer service and communication regarding their next steps for successful enrollment. Mariah and I lead an admissions transfer credit evaluation work group, which is compiled of staff from admissions and registrars from 12 CT State community colleges. During our work group meetings, we held transfer credit evaluation discovery sessions to review and evaluate practices for a streamlined process for both students, faculty, and staff. Our priority is ensuring that all transfer students and/or students with prior college coursework are provided with accurate information and given appropriate contact information if there are specific questions related to transfer credit and course articulations. Aside from Mariah and I, we have 12 transfer credit evaluation coordinators that make up our admissions transfer credit evaluation team. Each member is assigned an a two-letter alpha split for official transcript evaluation processing purposes. There is at least one transfer credit evaluation coordinator on each campus, except that is Nuntuck, Housatonic, Northwestern, and Three Rivers. However, we do have a triage plan in place, and this does not limit our CT State admissions team who are on campuses from being able to provide information regarding the status of transfer credit evaluation or contact to be made directly to the TCE assigned by Alpha Split or direct contact to Mariah. It's important for me to also share that our TCEs, as many of you all, are still supporting numerous roles in admissions, and in some cases, the registrars for spring 23 and summer 23, while at the same time reviewing fall transcripts received. A TCE contact list was shared with student support areas and academic affairs. Additionally, we will have at least one TCE on call for general questions. Our TCE team is available by office phone, Microsoft Teams, and email. Transfer credit evaluation coordinators who are on a campus will provide general transfer student information, answer questions, including transfer inquiries, and provide transfer credit evaluation status updates regardless of their TCE Alpha split assignments. Our main priority is to provide high-touch customer service to our students by providing as much on-the-spot information as possible. Engaging our students, answering their questions, providing strong collaborative support with student support services and academic affairs will lead to successful student enrollment. To ensure that our TCE staff is prepared, our admissions leadership team, along with the one-stop shop registrar team, implemented customer service trainings for our staff. And internal TCE admission staff trainings continue to be ongoing and are held both virtually and in person. We had the pleasure of hosting our most recent training, which was in person at Naugatuck Valley Community College. Some of our training topics include developing strong partnership with our student support areas and academic affairs, which includes knowing the key stakeholders on campuses and who to contact. The review of transfer credit evaluation student communication plans, technology trainings, which are so important, how to review a transcript for transfer credit evaluation, and understanding the transfer credit evaluation process. And the most important is the review of general education courses at our top feeder colleges and building course equivalency tables. Providing these trainings and resources for our staff allows us to develop efficiencies that will lead to faster turnaround times and accurate course equivalency. As you know, training supports will support our streamlined process for transfer equity, and we know this streamlined process will take some time. We look forward to sharing documented resources with everyone as we get through this process. This brings us to our general transfer credit evaluation process, which will be presented to you by Mariah Thomas, Interim Associate Director of Transfer Credit Evaluation.
This portion of the presentation will provide an overview of transfer policies as well as process maps for both new transfers and continuing students. Transfer credit evaluations are performed for accepted degree and/or certificate-seeking CT State community college students based on their current degree program. Should a student decide to declare a new program following an evaluation, a continuing student transfer credit evaluation request form must be submitted in My CT State. I will explain this process in greater detail later in the presentation. All college transcripts, AP, CLEP, International Baccalaureate, known as IB, credit for prior learning, and international transcripts from accredited institutions are reviewed for potential of transfer. Coursework from institutions holding a national accreditation are not eligible for transfer into CT State. Students must complete a minimum of 25% of their degree or certificate program coursework at CT State to meet the residency requirement for graduation. And this is the case even when an evaluation yields greater than 45 transferable credits. Courses that are applied to a student's declared program will be granted for transfer provided a minimum grade of C- was earned. This also includes pass grades equivalent to successful completion. TR will appear as the grade earned on the one college transcript, as the letter grades are not counted in CT State's calculation of grade point averages. All official transcripts must be sent from institutions that hold regional accreditation recognized under the Council of Higher Education Association, also known as CHEA. On screen, you will see the recognized accreditation bodies. The New England Commission on Higher Education, NECHI, which is the accreditation CT State will soon fall under. The Accrediting Commission for Community and Junior Colleges, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges, and the WASC Senior College and University Commission oversee specified institutions in California and the Pacific Islands. The Higher Learning Commission includes institutions that function federally and are authorized sovereign nations that are licensed in any state within the United States or such federally authorized sovereign nations to award higher degrees. Middle States Commission on Higher Education and the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on College include institutions based on geographical location. International coursework must be translated into the U.S. grading system before an evaluation can be completed. These translations must be completed by a company that falls under either the National Association of Credential Evaluation Services, NACIS, or the Association of International Credential Evaluators, known as AICES. Transcripts are evaluated in the order in which they are received. The turnaround time of an official evaluation is 2 to 3 business days, unless additional review of course descriptions is required, or we are experiencing high peak times. Official transcripts must be sent by mail or electronically directly from the student's previous college or colleges to CT State Community College Admissions Office. Electronic transcripts can be delivered to ctstate-transcripteval@ctstate.edu if CT State isn't available when performing a search in the Electronic Services search engine. The mailing address is on screen, as some schools do not process electronic transcripts. As it relates to sending official transcripts, transcripts received and downloaded or opened by a student are automatically considered unofficial, even if the document reads official. Transfer credit evaluation coordinators cannot transfer coursework into One College banner from a transcript that has been deemed unofficial. This includes a student requesting their transcript and downloading for the official college evaluation. This process map is color-coded to exemplify the parties responsible for completing the process. Student-initiated items are noted in blue, admission processing steps are orange, TCE procedures are in gold, and student communications are green. Following acceptance, students are prompted to request official copies of their college transcripts and have them sent to CT State. As mentioned, both electronic and paper copies are acceptable. Upon receiving a transcript, the TCE will attempt to match a transcript with an admitted degree or certificate seeking student. This will require both Highland On-Base and CRM Recruit. Provided the student has been admitted, the TCE will verify home campus and One College banner. An email communication confirming receipt of the transcript is then generated through CRM Recruit when the TCE marks the transcript as received. This email will include additional information, and if for any reason the transcript cannot be reviewed, that will be highlighted as well. The evaluation timeline is 2 to 3 business days. Within that time, TCEs are confirming accreditation, reviewing the transcript for unsatisfactory grades, notating classes that have the potential for transfer, and researching course descriptions for clarity as necessary. TCEs will also contact Academic Affairs to request review of course descriptions as needed. An email confirming completion of the evaluation will be generated in CRM Recruit when the TCE marks the transcript as reviewed. TCEs then transfer classes into One College banner. Screens such as Should Tater and Should Take will be heavily utilized to complete this process. Following the transfer of courses, DegreeWorks will be updated and newly transferred courses will appear viewable under the areas of which they've satisfied. If any courses do not fit the curriculum, they will fall under Not Applied to this degree. Students will receive the final communication confirming completion of the evaluation. This will include next steps broken down by where they are in the enrollment process. There are 2 major changes to the process map that differ from current processes on many campuses. First, the transfer credit evaluation request form is no longer required of newly admitted transfer students. We recognize the barrier the form created for many students who submitted their transcripts and made efforts to satisfy application requirements to receive acceptance. The second is the review process beginning after acceptance rather than registration. Some campuses even held evaluations until after census. The benefit of transferring courses after acceptance includes the opportunity for guided pathway advisors to see the coursework in DegreeWorks when they are working with students to select their course schedule. And students can also utilize DegreeWorks if they need to make any modifications to their schedule because the transferred coursework will appear. Continuing students will need to complete the Continuing Student Transfer Credit Evaluation Request Form in My CT State. Forms will be routed through Highland On-Base, technology I will discuss further in the presentation. An email communication will be sent to students confirming receipt of their form with additional information, including the evaluation timeline. TCEs will review the schools indicated on the form and check resources to see if copies of these transcripts are on file or if the transcripts were received through Highland On-Base. TCEs will then check the student's enrollment status and their degree or certificate program that is on file. Once this is confirmed, TCEs will then confirm the student's home campus and One College banner. TCEs will mark the transcripts as received within CRM Recruit and One College banner. This may generate an email communication if the student has a CRM Recruit account, meaning that they applied and were accepted after May 26th of 2020. Emails will be sent manually in Outlook to students that do not have a CRM profile. TCEs will then review any previously transferred coursework so that it is not accidentally considered for transfer again. This will help avoid duplicating transferred coursework during the reevaluation. The evaluation timeline is 2 to 3 business days. Again, within that timeline, TCEs are confirming accreditations, reviewing the transcript for unsatisfactory grades, notating classes that have potential for transfer, and researching course descriptions for clarity as necessary. TCEs will also contact Academic Affairs to request review of course descriptions as needed. As with new transfers, an email communication confirming completion of the evaluation will be generated in CRM Recruit if a profile is on file, when the TCE marks the transcript as reviewed. An email communication confirming completion of the evaluation will be sent manually through Outlook to students that do not have a CRM profile. TCEs then transfer courses into One College Banner. Screens such as Should Tater and Should Take will be heavily utilized to complete this process. Following the transfer of courses, degree works will be updated and newly transferred courses will be viewable under the areas in which they've satisfied. Students will receive the final communication confirming completion of the evaluation or reevaluation of transcripts. Dr. Amy Feest, Associate Vice President of Programs and Curriculum for CT State, will share information related to the advanced placement and college level examination programs.
Thank you, Mariah. So my piece is pretty small in all of this. I do want to thank Jeanette and Carolyn and Mariah for inviting me today to give a very, very brief update of how AP and CLEP are being brought over for, and credit for prior learning are being brought over for CT State. So we engaged in a project over the past several months of compiling all of the advanced placement and college level exam program scores that were currently being used at all 12 of our colleges. There was some commonality, but there was also some great discrepancies. Those evaluations were given to the statewide discipline councils as appropriate. So each statewide discipline council in governance, as you are aware, is made up of a variety of disciplines. So each discipline was matched to their appropriate council. They were given all of the current data that we have, and they were asked to make a final recommendation for CT State for each of the AP and the college level examination programs. About 50% of the statewide discipline councils have completed their review, and those recommendations are currently moving through the governance process for approval by the Curriculum Congress, we hope in April. The other half will be proposed and looked at in the SDCs in April to move through to the Curriculum Congress by the end of this academic year. So by the end of this academic year, and we will have the ability to take all of the advanced placement and CLEP scores and have common equivalencies for all of them for CT State. In the short term, so that we are not holding up any student who is bringing in credits, we will be using each of the individual campuses' current evaluation to ensure that students get credit and they know for the fall to not take a course that they will be bringing into CT State and receiving credit for. So again, by the end of this academic year, we fully anticipate that all of the advanced placement and CLEP scores will be finalized for CT State. Just one other piece of clarity for those of you who may have known this, there was about 2 or 3 years ago, the CSCU system had required that all advanced placement scores with a 3 or higher have some type of an equivalency so that students would receive credit for those scores. So we are anticipating that everything that is being offered through the advanced placement process will have some type of an equivalency in CT State at 3 or above for all students to really give the maximum ability for students to bring in credits. Regarding credit for prior learning, there is currently a committee being developed to look at credit for prior learning throughout the CSCU system. I am a member of that committee, and one of our first tasks is to bring together the processes for credit for prior learning and to ensure that a student, when they receive credit at one of our campuses for some of their prior learning, whether it is through something like the state police or whether it is through a variety of other external ways to earn that credit, that credit is accepted at the community colleges, but is also accepted in the same way if they transfer within our system to Charter Oak or one of the universities. One of the problems that we currently have is students may receive credit from us for something for prior learning, and then when they transfer to one of the universities, they may not take it in the same way we did, and the student is then left possibly repeating coursework or taking more coursework than they anticipated. There's a lot more work to be done in that area. There is a lot of work to be done to look at the non-credit to credit, the way that we can bring students over and give them credit for prior learning, but that is all happening over the course of the next several months and the next year. So we will be providing updates to that. And I think that's it for me. I will turn the floor back over, but I look forward to any questions anybody has at the end of the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Fess, for sharing such important information. Communication is key in ensuring a streamlined process for transfer credit evaluation, and our goal is to communicate with student support staff, such as guided pathway advising, our different student affairs staff on campuses, academic affairs, and faculty. Our primary communication begins with transfer students and students with prior college coursework upon acceptance for admission. This includes new first-time students who've earned college credit through dual enrollment programs. These students are not considered transfer students, but transcripts are evaluated in the same manner. Our TCEs will meet with students both virtually and/or in person to answer questions and provide guidance, share TCE status updates, and answer inquiries received in our general transcript evaluation mailbox. Our general transcript evaluation mailbox is open to all students, faculty, and staff to utilize for any questions or comments related to transfer credit evaluations. Inquiries and questions can also be sent directly to me. Student communication templates are created within CRM Recruit and were developed and reviewed by our Admissions Transfer Credit Evaluation Work Group. Our TCE student communication templates were built to meet the needs of our students at each phase of the official transcript review and evaluation process. Our email templates include, but are not limited to, transcript receive or confirmation, transcript credit evaluation pending, transfer credit evaluation complete, no transferable credits, transcript received, no admissions application on file or acceptance, which is also known as not on file. Non-degree students will receive an email communication outlining the next steps of non-degree enrollment. Transferable English and math courses will be transferred in an effort to assist registration. Prior college credit marked on admissions application need college transcripts will generate within CRM Recruit once the application is submitted and the student has indicated prior college coursework. This will direct students on how to send their transcripts to CT State.
During our discovery meetings with the TCE work group, we discussed processing timelines, work efficiencies, professional development, and technology. The current process, which is a manual, paper-based TCE review, can make processes slow and cumbersome, causing students to wait for weeks or even months to receive equivalency decisions. Technology and the need for efficiency continues to be an underlying task across the system as it relates to transfer credit evaluation. We implemented various resources to support our process with the support of Tamika Davis, Interim Vice President of Enrollment Management. The platforms listed will be used to review student status and entry of transfer credit evaluation course articulations. TEST, the Transfer Evaluation System, is a database of college catalogs and course descriptions across the United States, and this is a digital virtual catalog. All 12 CT State community colleges were given access to this platform in May 2022. If your campus does not have access to this platform, please reach out to Mariah and I, and we can provide that access to you. 1C Parchment, which is One College Parchment, is a collection of official transcripts through a verified electronic service. 1C Parchment became available to our Fall 23 applicants to send transcripts electronically to CT State Community College in October 2022. And we extended access to our Guided Pathways advisors most recently so they can view transcripts received. A platform we are in the process of implementing and are very excited about is a product with Highland OnBase. It's called Transcript Capture. Transcript Capture is an automated TCE data entry process of our top 10 feeder colleges, which will be shared in our presentation later on. This platform allows us to pull demographic, term course, and grade data from transcripts and store them automatically. It also removes manual error prone from data entry, and the system will read all of our transcripts automatically. This is based on the top feeder colleges. TCEs can import transcripts received electronically, and in turn, Transcript Capture reads them and reads the data automatically from our top feeder colleges to capture course information, and this will replace tedious manual data entry. The go-live timeline for Transcript Capture is between July 24th of this year through August 11th of this year. Key stakeholders co-leading this project include myself, Mariah Thompson, John Hayes, and Rusty Nichols.
Official transcripts and test scores will be received within Highland OnBase under CSCC admissions transcripts. The TCE daily workflow includes indexing transcripts through the queues while maintaining student communication. On screen, you will see the queues in the order of how the transcript is received all the way down through review for deletion. All transcripts received will first appear in no student record, and the transcript will live for a maximum of 60 days until they are deleted by Highland. The only reason a transcript would stay in this queue for the full 60 days is if the transcript couldn't be matched to at least a submitted application during that time. The TCEs will confirm application submission through CRM Recruit, and transcripts of students that have only submitted a transcript will be indexed into ADM awaiting acceptance. Transcripts will remain until the student has received their acceptance. TCEs will review this queue on a weekly basis to confirm if the student has received acceptance to then move the transcript to the next queue, which is ADM transcript evaluation. In this queue, transcripts of admitted students, as well as continuing who've submitted transcripts for evaluation, will be housed. This begins the 2 to 3 business day processing timeline. Once the evaluation is completed, TCEs will move the transcripts into ADM Transfer Credit Complete, meaning that the review is completed and the credits are ready to be entered into One College Banner. Following the transfer of credits, the transcript is marked as being entered into Banner. Access to ADM Review for Deletion is selective, and it is where transcripts are housed once the evaluation is completed to ensure transfer of credits. The TCE daily workflow of evaluating transcripts of those currently enrolled includes an alert from the specified inbox CSCC admission students form outlined in red. The continuing student transfer credit evaluation request form will be accessible, and the transcripts would then be moved through the queues as outlined in the previous slide. Other technology platforms that are in place system-wide include One College Banner, One College CRM Recruit, and the newly released One College DegreeWorks. It is important for students to know who can serve as their point of contacts should they get lost along the way. The Transfer Credit Evaluation General Email, ctstate-transcripteval@ct.edu, which is located in the chat, is open for students to request general information, status updates, and inquire about evaluated coursework. As mentioned previously, this email is open to students, faculty, and staff as needed. Parchment, College Board, and the National Student Clearinghouse are the most commonly utilized electronic entities that as it relates to processing official college transcripts and documents. The National Association of Credential Evaluation Services, NACIS, certifies agencies to complete translations and evaluations based on their criteria. World Education Services, known as WES, the Educational Credential Evaluators, known as ECE, and the Center for Applied Research, Evaluations, and Education are among the popular options utilized by students with international coursework. It's important to notate that students that have international coursework are not necessarily considered international students. Please check out the International Student webinar, which will be on April 25th, to learn more information about our international students. As we begin to review Fall 23 transcripts, we will continue to monitor our transfer student trends and data as it's related to admission to enrollment of transfer students. Per the diagram, as of Fall 22, transfer students encompass 11% of the CT State Community College system. This is the yield from submitting an application to finalizing enrollment, per data from CRM Recruit and Banner. 16% of our students of this academic year, 2022 to 2023, had a transfer record indicated. This figure includes dual enrollment coursework and other supplements, such as credit by exam and credit for prior learning. Data points and trends we will continue to investigate throughout include the percentage of students that transfer into CT State and then graduate with a credential from CT State, the top 10 most commonly selected majors on the application, and the comparison data of the number of students that are applying to specified degree programs outside of general studies and liberal arts and sciences, but are then graduating with an associate's degree in either general studies or liberal arts and sciences. Identifying trends with data will help support future efforts and initiatives with our four-year institutions within Connecticut, such as the CSUs and UConn, as well as surrounding areas. Nationally, approximately 80% of students who enter community college intend to transfer and obtain a bachelor's degree, but just 14% complete a bachelor's degree within 6 years. Talk about a discrepancy. In addition to identifying the percentage of transfer students, it's important to pinpoint where students are transferring from. On screen, we have the top feeder colleges listed. The Transfer Credit Evaluation Work Group began meeting in spring 2022, and in April 22, pulled a series of HO6 reports in Banner that were reviewed. The data stemmed from fall 2019 through spring 2023 and were reviewed to compile this list. And this information was also used to intentionally develop the TCE alphabetical split that we are utilizing to process evaluations. Students who transfer also face barriers to completion, hidden complexities associated with transfer credits. Key takeaways from a Beyond Transfer Policy Advisory Board white paper series article that was written February 23 included the following. At least 39 million Americans have some college credit, but have yet to receive a credential. 38% of all first-time students transfer institutions within their first 6 years of college enrollment. Of those that transfer, nearly half, 45% to be exact, transfer institutions 2 times or more. Overall, the most prevalent barriers within the enrollment process include financial constraints and concerns, personal circumstances or obligations, family being a very big one, changes in the availability of classes and resources, and a lack of communication and guidance of school officials. Solutions to absolving these barriers include mental health and wellness centers, an open access CT State course schedule that will allow students to register at multiple campuses without having to follow multiple enrollment processes, and a dedicated scholarship fund that is dedicated to transfer students. TCEs will be able to communicate with students in a timely fashion because their workload will be dedicated to transcript evaluations and all that they encompass. Evaluating transcripts after acceptance, rather than enrollment or census, will allow for guided pathway advising to have access to the transfer information within DegreeWorks when meeting with their students. As mentioned, this will also allow students to see their coursework and make any changes as needed through My CT State. Developing the TCEs is integral to not only ensuring courses are transferred correctly, but that students are received well and that their questions are answered pointedly, whether that be in person or virtually. I have held trainings virtually through Microsoft Teams, as well as in person at Naugatuck Valley for topics that are more hands-on. Customer service trainings were completed by all TCEs as of last Friday, and all are certified to receive students and their families and to begin de-escalations of students that are disgruntled. We will continue to assess our transfer process and ask that you be patient with us as we streamline our transfer process for fall 2023 accepted students. Thank you so much for attending our presentation. We will now turn our presentation over for questions. If we are not able to get through every question, we will follow up by email. Thank you.
Okay, I think Carolyn, you were going to ask the questions. Go ahead and have at it.
Carrie, if you're talking.
Thank you, Jeanette, Mariah, and Amy for sharing this detailed information about the transfer credit evaluation process. We have received some questions in the chat. And the first question that we have is, if a transfer student doesn't submit an official transcript, is there follow-up communications to remind them? Also, it's a two-part question. Is there a notation in the communication that if they don't submit an official transcript, their ability to be advised will be limited?
Mariah, I'll let you take that one.
I'll hop on that second point. That is a great point. That information can be added into those communications. I don't believe it is in all of them, but we can definitely ensure that that information is there so that students know that the transcripts do need to be received so that they can meet with advising and have the most successful appointment. Historically, we've always, told students we need to have all of your transcripts so that you can have a successful appointment. So we can definitely echo those sentiments and communications that we send. And I'm sorry, Carrie, can you repeat the first part of the question for me?
Okay. The next question is, if a student would like to speak to someone about an equivalency decision, how can the student make that connection with the evaluator?
So an email can be sent to our general email, and the student can indicate their first and last name.
That if you'd like.
That's okay, Carrie. We'll have Mariah answer this question and then we'll go back to the first part of that question. You can proceed, Mariah.
Okay, sorry. So an email can be sent to our general email inbox, CT State Transcript transcript eval, and we can forward that email to the evaluator that is assigned to the alphabet split. The person that reviewed the transcript would be the best person to answer why a course wasn't transferred. And so in order to keep the communication familiar, we would be able to get the student in contact with their assigned evaluator.
And I do want to go back to the first part of the first question. If a transfer student doesn't submit an official transcript, is there follow-up communications to remind them?
Yes, so within CRM Recruit, the reminder notifications for missing items are sent more than once. And so those communications can be scheduled to be sent as many times as we need, so that students that don't have that item marked as received will receive a communication to remind them to send their transcript. There may be extenuating circumstances that I will highlight, such as unpaid balances that do prohibit students from requesting their official transcripts. So we also want to be sensitive to those circumstances as well, because students may be very well aware that they haven't sent their transcripts, and it could be for a circumstance outside of their control.
And just to add to that, If an unofficial transcript is sent, we do have a communication plan in place that will be sent as a one-off to share with that student how to submit their official transcript, where to send it to, and how they can get it to us specifically through Parchment, which will be the fastest route for the student.
Okay, and our next question is, how will non-degree or guest students' transcripts be evaluated?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
She has, the question was, how will non-degree or guest students be evaluated?
So non-degree transcripts will be evaluated for English and math. Unfortunately, if an English or math course has been previously transferred, we wouldn't be able to accept it off of that transcript. But the courses would be transferred if they can to assist with registration, especially if the prerequisites indicate, eligibility for or completion of English 1010 come fall 23. We have not streamlined the process for full evaluations of non-degree students because non-degree coursework doesn't have a curriculum, and our current process is to evaluate by the curriculum. And so English and math would really be the only two classes that we could take in on our side.
Carrie, are there any other questions?
We have one last question, and that is, who can faculty contact regarding transfer evaluation issues for current applicants set to start under CT State in the fall?
They can contact myself, they can contact me.
So faculty and staff, if there are questions pertaining to transfer credit evaluation for fall 23 applicants as it stands, you can contact Mariah Thomas, and/or you can contact the general mailbox, which is CT State Transcript Eval at ct.edu. As of now, our TCEs are in training to populate transfer credit transcripts that we're seeing now come through. Our first priority is really to start working on our allied health selective admissions applicants. We've received a little over 400 transcripts to date through Parchment and other services, and we'll be looking to review transcripts and hit the ground running to make sure that those are ready for students as they get ready to register in the next week.
Okay, was that our last question? That looked like it was it. Well, I want to thank all of you for being here. I wanted to let everyone
There are
know
no more
who was.
questions in the chat.
Oh, there are or are not. Sorry, did I speak over you? I'm sorry. So now that we've answered all the questions, I did want to let you know that the recording of this presentation, if you wanted to share it with anyone, will be available on ctstate.edu/webinar, and so will the slide deck. So if you wanted to go back and review and look at some of the details and all the information on here, you will be able to do so. Should be posted by Monday. And I wanted to thank Jeanette and her team for being here. It's very informative, and we really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you. We appreciate your time, and a big thank you to Dr. Amy Feest for serving on this panel with us, and Carrie for monitoring the chat. Thank you so much, Alexa.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Everyone.